Oh.
Oh, now we are.
Okay. Item number 2, discuss possibly approve the minutes of the May 11th, 2021 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Number 3, petitions from the audience. None. Number 4, mayor's report.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. You have the report in your and so it is not included in the mix. As you can see, sales tax receipts combined through fiscal year 2021 at $9,705,802. We did have receipts reported in the month of June of $871,000. Those levels continue to remain strong. When you add the use tax to that, and you bring a totals $10,688,115.50, and that total is about $200,000 above what it was last year. So that continues to be strong. We will end up budgeting, trying to budget 90% of those receipts. 90% of that number, 10,688, is about $9,619,000. That does not include the fees and the other things that go into the mix. That's just, or the tobacco tax. That just only includes the sales tax and use tax. So. So the receipts continue to remain strong. I'm encouraged by that, and that means people are shopping local and supporting the community. Y'all have any questions?
I do not, Mr. Mayor. Anybody else?
Nope.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 5, discussion and possible action regarding Pryor Main Street Annual Contribution General Fund Account 022015334. I have a motion.
I will make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Mayor.
If I may, you got one coming, Is she coming down the hall?
Yes, I'm right here.
Come on in. Hey, that was a great time.
Oh, you're doing that for me?
Yep, we just got there on the agenda. Yeah, and yes, we did that for you.
Okay, sweet.
So,
I'll log in and catch my breath because I ran here.
okay. You mind if I start that for you?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay, I'll start it for you. If you look on your budget report and go to page 5, you will see down there, where is it? You'll see item 201-5334, and that just says promotion, but actually that is the
Where are you at?
What page?
Where, you mean page 6?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, page 6.
Oh, you're on page. You got it on page 6,
Yes.
and I've got it on page 5. Well, that's special.
Okay.
Okay, so that item number is 02201-5334, and you see it says promotion. That is actually the Pryor Main Street contribution. That Main Street, they give us a report, and we acknowledge their value to the community and the value to what they do. And that's, I asked, Jenny said she had that ready to present tonight, and so I asked her to go ahead and come present that to budget personnel. So,
That's the plan.
so, Jenny, without further ado.
Yes, okay, I mean, I can do it without the slides, but I look really hard on those.
No,
So I'm trying to get them, okay.
Yeah, go ahead and get them up.
Actually, we're slightly hard, but.
If it's okay with the committee.
Yes.
Let me see. Okay. I just have to get logged in.
We won't look.
If you're like me, you can see that far in.
While she's doing that, if you wouldn't mind if I backtrack just a bit.
No, go ahead.
I think on your desk, you have this item from Brown and Brown. I can also include that on my report, which is the health insurance quotation and presentation from Brown and Brown. On page 2, you see what the current plans are, and they have changed a little bit. It has gone through Ordinance Insurance, and Ordinance Insurance makes a presentation to City Council. But for your information, this is the health insurance proposal from Brown and Brown, and it is included in all of the numbers that we have in the personnel part of the budget that's going to be proposed. Choya was also in that meeting,
Right.
and they did go and they looked at Aetna, they looked at Cigna, they looked at Community Care, they looked at United Healthcare, and myself, along with the Ordinance Insurance Committee, believe that staying with Blue Cross and Blue Shield is in the best interest of the city.
Mhm. We looked over things that are happening right now between Blue Cross and Blue Shield and St. Francis Hospital. And if you look on the first paragraph there, as of last year, there was only $139,740 actually went to St. Francis out of Blue Cross. So it's not like there was a large amount of,
Massive.
yeah, it wasn't one that was used more. So that was one thing we looked at. Also, probably before the insurance year starts, that'll probably be taken care of. It seems like it's heading in that direction. Another thing we talked about doing was starting the city of flexible account, possibly. They can put money into their kind of like a Benny card, and they'll be able to use that throughout the year. Whatever they decide to put in there, that money will be available at the first of the year. And then they will basically, it will come out of their check. They can pay it out,
Right, however they
monthly.
want.
So I think it'll be a good addition to the employees.
Choya, also, Lisa and I have been looking at our personnel policies
Mhm.
handbook that we use, and so if we go that flex situation, then we probably will need to request an update in the verbiage
Sure,
in that to include that.
okay.
So it's not included right now.
Well, that would be out of this, we'll be here out of this committee. But we'll have to do that.
It'll be out of the Ordinance Insurance Committee.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I was thinking you said personnel, so I was thinking whether it be a personnel issue, so we go with,
Actually, it could go either way.
yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
it could go either way. Because that would be,
Mhm,
that would, it could go either way.
mhm.
So,
Ever, anything else, we talked about vision, the way that we figured with using the Flex card, that the vision would be better, stay the same, dental staying the same. Everything seems to be pretty much like it was last year, and we heard very few problems with it. You guys haven't heard a lot of bad issues, and when they did have an issue, Miss Britton was on top of it and got things handled, so.
She and her staff, the initial offer, as you can read on that, it said it was about a 21% increase, but they negotiated it down to about an 8% increase,
Yep.
which is consistent industry-wide.
It's pretty great for this year because of all the COVID stuff, everything went up tremendously.
Yep. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All
Okay,
right.
I'm gonna have to be over here to run this, so if you guys can hear me.
Oh, we're fine.
Okay. So, you know, at this point, you know who we are. We're Main Street, we're a nonprofit. We do a little bit of everything. So, in this next slide, And then the next one, the blue one, is 23 new partnerships since the last year that I presented at this budget meeting. And so with that, that's 23 new businesses, 23 new business owners, and their employees that are engaging in downtown and the revitalization of it. And that alone makes a big difference. We were able to host 5 free family events for the community. Things like the carnival, things like cruise night, and then we had our, I'm trying to think, but just the third Thursday things, we're getting ready to have a red, white, and blue bash. There's a ton of different events that just engages people of all ages downtown that might not typically shop downtown. They might see something downtown, come back later, and then that's tax dollars. And then the last thing that I have on here, we were able to host through Main Street, whether that was at our office or even bigger, 52 networking and community engagement events. I put in my notes in my phone a little bit of a better breakdown for that. So those all included volunteer training. So not only are we getting the volunteer hours at the beginning, like at the first dot, but also we wanted to make sure that they were put to use. So we had a volunteer training that quite a few people came to. We hosted shoplifting prevention trainings for our small business owners. So that's something that kind of directly affects them, which affects us. We have hosted roundtables with the planning design group out of Tulsa that's doing our streetscape plan. So we're kind of a hub of people to be able to come and give their ideas of what they want for downtown, and also continually working with them. And then we've had other business owner speakers. We've hosted some 1 million cups, which basically what that is kind of a comfort zone for small businesses to come and basically lay out like what are they actually struggling with, and then we can kind of all give them feedback on or ideas of how to survive, basically kind of like a judgment-free zone sort of thing. So additional plans for the rest of 2021/2022. We're going to continue with community events. Those seem to just get better and better, honestly, as when we have them. More people come, more people get involved. I think the next one that we have next Thursday, we have more vendors than we've ever had by like double. And so people are just getting the word out. And they're from all over. They're not just from Pryor. These are vendors that are coming from Oklahoma City. These are vendors that are coming from everywhere that are coming to set up here. Plus we've had partnerships, and we've had even businesses open downtown through these events. So I mean, it's a little bit bigger than just kind of hosting a party. We'll do more downtown promotion. That's something you see every day on social media. That's kind of surface level of what we use, but I think it helps. People are always on their phones. That's how they shop. That's how they see what's going on. We're gonna continue with partnerships. We have partnerships with businesses, but we also partner with other organizations. So I mean, we're kind of all working together to kind of bring up that community morale and teamwork setting. There's going to be more trainings. There's one that I'm going to next week, the 15th, 16th, 14th, and 15th. It's about basically like upper floor housing and how to turn some of these places. I mean, and it lays out everything from historical tax credits to how to fund it to what some of the rules are and some of the laws are for things like that. And I believe that you're going to attend at least one day. And so, and we're also inviting business owners and building owners, trying to get more people involved rather than me just going, listening, and then coming back with knowledge that no one feels tied to. So we're inviting them and hoping that they're able to make it. And then we're going to continue to work with PDG. I got an update from them today. And basically they're waiting on a few things to get back to them, but they've already met with people like ODOT and gotten the rules and regulations there. And so they're already working with different organizations like that. Plus we had a meeting a couple weeks ago with them where people basically came and did a this or that portion of what do you want downtown Pryor to look like this or that, and they gave examples. So they're taking all that and putting it together. We plan to do more facade grants. So it kind of seems like over the last few years we've consistently doubled what we did the year previous in facade grants, and that's just simply because people are applying for them. They're hearing about it now. Plus we're able to provide that, and so we went from 15,000 to 20,000 with the city this last year. We're able to help them do things like the awnings, and the awnings alone, I think it changed. I think there's 9 storefronts that are completely regenerated because of the awning grants for the facade grants. And then other small business assistance. We have done everything from teeny tiny bit. And then things just, I mean, like us, we kind of take it day by day, and new things will always come, and I'm gonna leave here and think of 30 million things I didn't mention at all in my notes that I wrote out, but I was just talking to you guys. But I am open for questions if you guys have any.
How many total Main Street partners do you have right now?
Okay, so I just did this the other day, so I'll come up right now. So when we first started, we had, we'll say first started 3 years ago, we had 6, and now we have 78.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a bunch.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah, it's kind of wild.
Has that been since you've taken over or started?
Well, like
Say.
the new rise in leaders.
Okay.
Not
Gotcha.
me, yeah. But yeah,
That's
so I mean,
great.
it's pretty neat. Yeah.
Wow, 7, wow, that's
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
Quite an increase.
It seems like every time we turn around, there's something new that Main Street's doing, whether it's the planners out front or it's some event or, I mean, there's always something, and it's a huge benefit to the community. People are always talking about it. I'm highly grateful for the services you guys provide.
Thanks.
Mhm.
I have any other questions too? I love answering them.
Not right now.
I love the planners too. I literally
Yeah.
drive by and I'm like, my babies, like right there. But okay, well, thanks for letting me talk. Sorry, I was late. Literally ran here, but and if you have any other questions, you can always email me or text me. Really text me, that's the best way. So and I'll be happy to answer them. So.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Item number 6, discuss possibly recommend council action regarding accepting bid from Premier Signs and Design in the amount of $5,020 for a new sign at Centennial Park from Park Capital Outlay account 02-219-5411. Other bid received, Image Builders, $7,247.28.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Anybody able to give us any insight as to what's going on with this? James?
James,
It's
what'd
for
you
the
do?
park. We don't. There's one currently, right, or no? Oh, this is Centennial Park. Never
Centennial
mind.
Centennial Park.
I don't
Right,
think-
so,
Never mind,
so
wrong
the
park.
signage at Centennial Park is consistent with the signage at Whitaker Park.
Yes, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So that's really what we should know about that, is that it's not something that's different. It's gonna be, it's consistent and draws those two parks together. Frank was not able to be here tonight to present, and he asked me if I would speak to it. I'm very happy to ask any questions. I'm not sure exactly where it's gonna be placed, other than it's gonna be placed somewhere where it can be seen from Elliott Street and the school that's catty corner across the street.
Right. Was there an issue a while back? Do we have a family that wanted to put a sign up for one of their loved ones or something in Centennial Park?
Not that I'm aware
I
of.
don't
but-
recall.
Thinking that we had that brought up one time.
It may have been before my time, but I don't remember that.
Was it a bench, maybe?
Maybe it was a bench with their mom's name on it. Was it the Thompsons?
Was it not the Williams family?
It probably was the
It
Williams.
may have
I
been.
think it-
may have
They're the
been.
Williams
ones
family
that-
is the family that
Yes.
donated the land
Mhm.
to the city for the purpose of creating Centennial Park.
Okay,
But,
that's probably what it was.
yeah. Anyway, this is something that is within the confines of the budgeted monies, and it's a good addition to Centennial Park and to our park system.
All right. I don't have any questions. Do either one of you?
No.
All right. Hearing nothing else, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Item number 7, discuss possibly recommend council action regarding surplus and trade-in of the following vehicles from the Pryor Creek Police Department. 2007 Pontiac Grand Prix, ending in, VIN number ending in 2568, 122,865 miles, that's a forfeiture. 2008 Chevy Tahoe, with a VIN number ending in 9484, 180,238 miles. 2008 Honda Ridgeline with a VIN number ending in 2995, 104,000 miles, 109,000 miles. 2006 Cadillac SD, VIN number ending in 2799 with 162,867 miles. It's also a forfeiture. Request method of disposal of surplus property per City Code 2-1-4E4. Trade-in, the City Council may determine and prescribe that the property be disposed of by trade-in for replacement equipment at such values and prices as deemed to be in the best interest of the city and consistent with market rates. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
James.
So, it's a really good time right now to trade in vehicles for us. Market rates are pretty high.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
So, we're looking to trade in these 4 vehicles, and there's actually a Traverse that just got off the truck today. We went out there and looked at it, and it's, the prices on the new ones really haven't gone up, it's just the used. So,
Right.
we're trying to latch onto that one while we can, and we're asking to trade those in and use the money. We're not asking the council or the budget committee to take funds out of the general fund this late in the year, so we're trying to use the drug forfeiture money that we have.
Okay.
It'll be a detective vehicle.
2 of these vehicles are forfeitures. What are the other 2?
They're old detective one's Chief's old vehicle, actually. That Chevy Tahoe was bought for Chief back in 2008, and then the Honda Ridgeline was a detective vehicle.
Okay. From that list. Okay. Any other questions or discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Number 8, discuss possibly recommend council action to approve the Pryor Creek Police Department to trade in the following vehicles to Pryor Chevrolet Buick GMC as the best interest for the city for the trade-in amount of $17,000 on a 2021 Traverse LS FWD that was bid at $31,473 for a difference of $14,473 to be paid out of the police drug forfeitures 2020 account 96-965-5555. Other bids received: Classic Chevrolet 2021 Traverse LS, $35,039 and $16,200 for trades. Suburban Chevrolet did not have a new Traverse LS, $15,500 for trades. Jim Glover Chevy 2021 Traverse LS, $34,295, and currently have not received bids for trades. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I'll second.
Any further, just kind of, I wrapped it up in the first one. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to ask, or answer.
I don't.
No,
Except questions about a sign at the park, because I have no idea.
yeah, well, we're working on that one.
Apparently you were supposed to.
I'm gonna give Mayor crap about that one for a while.
It's all state bid stuff, right?
No, this is not. That's why we had to go out. If it was state bid, then I wouldn't have to go out and get 3 bids. So since it's not state bid, it's not state contract, then we have to go out and get 3, and that's why we did that.
Okay.
Same thing with the trade-ins. We did the same thing last March, even though that was a screw up. We had the titles on these, so, we've done this several times.
Okay,
It would've been a lot easier if it was state contract, but it's not.
okay. I guess we can do it without going through a state contract, everything would be,
No, you don't have to go through state contract.
okay, all right,
As long as we fulfill the requirements of the bidding process.
okay. All right, sounds good.
Also, I might add that that fund balance is about $174,000, so
Yeah.
we have plenty of money there to do that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I'm good there.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Number 9, discussion regarding preliminary general government budget fund 201 for 2021-2022 fiscal year. Do I have a motion?
Do we do a motion if it's just discussion? Do we have to do a motion if it's just discussion?
Okay.
Okay.
Mayor, do you have anything on this? On these, all of them?
Are we on 8?
We are on
Nine.
9.
We're on 9. You know what? I have a whole lot of information, and it's gonna take some time to go through all of it. The budget is not, the budget work has not been completed yet, but I wanted to take this opportunity to go through the budget proposals with you. They're not all completed. And I think that you have the budget worksheets in front of you, and I think they're in order, so I'm just gonna charge right through.
I do not have a copy of the budget worksheets.
This one? I think that's
What
what
we
this
got
is gonna be.
emailed? No, this, right?
Yes.
You sent to us yesterday?
I did not.
You can look at mine.
All right.
You go ahead.
I have seen it. I did not print it off. That is my fault.
Well, perhaps we should have printed those off for you. My bad. Starting on the general fund, excuse me. We don't have that completed yet. We just now, today, got our insurance, our liability, and our property insurance numbers in, so those are still to be determined. One of the a lot of these items are the same as they were the previous year. General outside services, number 5075, would be perhaps if you wanted to look at those budget sheets that I printed for you, the big bundle there. My page 5, it might be your page 6. But on the item 5075, general outside services, we've had the need over this year to overspend that budget line item by a significant amount because of the different engineering services that we have had, that we have needed to do. One of those engineering services has been with Bill Smith and the floodplain management, floodplain discussion, and how we deal with Salt Branch Creek, as well as the drain on South Oklahoma Street, and the drain in Park Branch, and the drain over off of 7th Street as it goes through under 69 Highway. So each time we engage Mr. Smith, then there's a fee that we pay, and that's the item that has I chose to spend that out of, number 5075, and so I bumped that item up by quite a bit because that work is not completely done, and I foresee we're going to have more expenditures through that. A lot of those numbers, if you look at 5280, that we created another line item for out of the general fund for the E911 services, those expenses. 911 does not generate enough revenue to pay for that service, and so if we continue to have that service, then funding a portion of that out of the general fund is what would be needed. So that's an item, and it is now number 5280. The other items that are the other item that is to be determined is the capital outlay item, which is number 5582 of that general excuse me, general government fund. So several items to be determined yet. The unallocated reserves, that excess, that will be budgeted, and then all of the insurance items will also be budgeted. So we just don't have it prepared yet. Item 5091, general repair and maintenance. That's also one that is not determined yet. Perhaps there will be something out of that line item that would go to Park Pool. Perhaps something to mitigate the health hazard that's present at the Castle Theater would come out of that line item. I'm waiting for some estimates to know how to fill that line item. I do believe that it will be more than the $52,000 that we had last year. Do you have any question about the general funds so far?
I do not know.
If you don't, then we can move right along. I'm going to try to breeze through these pretty quickly, and if you have a question, please.
Now, you have gone through all of the revenue areas that we're actually receiving monies from, right? And making sure that we're not gonna overstep or overspend or all this other kind of stuff.
That is correct. The CARES Act funding will not show up on the general fund. That will not show up.
Okay,
We're creating a complete different fund for that, so we don't mix any of that up
and the MUB also,
going
right?
forward. And yes. Excuse me. Eva, when we get the annual contribution from MUB, where does that go to? It comes in, so it comes in monthly, and do we put that in the general fund? Okay, so, Troy, that does come into the general fund.
Okay. Not just another revenue.
Correct. We move to item 203, which is item number 10, if that's all right, community
Yes.
development. I requested to fund a community development coordinator last year. We did not fund that. Part of the reason was because of COVID-19, and I didn't see the need to fund that or to try to fill that position. But I do have the intention to try to fill that position and advertise for that position coming up this next year.
What's that position actually encompass?
Planning, city planning. Right now, our city engineer is fulfilling some of those requirements about community development. So if there would be a code thing that would pass over to perhaps the city to attend to, that would be a community development item. So if
So is this,
somebody comes in, they want to build some duplexes in a particular space where they want to get a variance with different setbacks or whatever that might be, that would go into the community development director to guide that.
so they'd be working pretty much hand in hand with EDTA?
No, the community development director would be working hand in hand with the building inspector. A building inspector also with code enforcement, and then Cheryl Lau would be the clerk that
Okay.
they would primarily be working with.
Does Mr. Young not provide that, like what you were mentioning, if someone wanted to build a duplex or get a variance, is that not what he does as well?
That's part of
Okay.
what he does. That is part of what he does.
Okay.
Most of the time, when those questions are asked, there needs to be a reference to our codes, sometimes interpreting the codes. Sometimes there are questions about the codes. We are continually trying to update those codes as they apply to us, and a community development coordinator would be a position that would be a go-to in that regard, rather than the building inspector, or rather than a clerk, Cheryl Lau as a clerk. We've kind of learned to navigate through those things and do the best job we can, but in many cases, we're not able to give the kind of customer service that we should be able to give in that regard, because it might take a little bit long. Might take a long time to answer a question, and the question might go through 2 or 3 hands. Whereas with a community development coordinator functioning as a city planner, then that would be a whole lot more efficient for us and a whole lot more efficient for developers coming in and looking at us at the city of Pryor as an opportunity to put a retail or put in, or putting housing development or whatever it might be. Also, let's not forget that the community development coordinator in city planning, they're also going to be directing toward the comprehensive plan and using that as a guide. We're using that as a guide. So making sure that in following codes, we're able to use that comprehensive plan as a guide, and then update it as time goes by. So there are several things that a city planner would do, or community development coordinator.
Now, just putting this in the budget, we are budgeting for this position. We still have to create the position and the job description and,
So the job description is pretty well been completed. We did that last year when we inserted this as a budget line item. But as I said before, just chose not to try to hire that position because of the circumstances of COVID. So also on this item is a funding item for the Economic Development Trust Authority. By the way, that on the worksheet is item number 5070. And funding the Economic Development Trust Authority to be able to have a way to satisfy an expense need, whether it be trying to bring an abstract up to date if there's property that would sell. Those kinds of expenses would be expenses that EDTA might have.
Would the
And this
funds
is
they
on-
receive not cover things like that?
Perhaps. The EDTA has the ability to buy property, has the ability to do an assessment about different properties, and so sometimes they might want to use consultants. Sometimes it might require legal opinions, that sort of thing. And so that's the reason why there's a line item there that would try to fund EDTA. So right now, Yolanda, the EDTA, through sale of some properties, there are some monies that are in an account, a separate fund, not this fund. This is an expenditure fund, but a revenue fund where the EDTA has the ability to generate revenue and to then expend expenses. So far, EDTA has not had any expenses. So that's I forget which fund that is, but it's toward the back of the list. It's actually should be the last page. Fund 98. And right now, that fund is showing about $34,000.
and that's offselling the properties that were deeded to them.
Correct.
And they haven't sold all of those yet, have they?
Yes. as a
Oh, they
matter of
have?
fact.
Okay.
But we've got other properties that are in the abatement process that I anticipate soon to be signed over to the EDTA. The next item looks like it's 205. That's the planning and zoning community. That's also a fund that we set aside several years ago, the 205 fund, and we fund it minimally, as you can see, and we will have minimal expenses through that fund. I think we've spent about, well, we have $5,200 left. There's not too many, so occasionally we'll do some mapping. We'll have some expenditures that will go through mapping, updating mapping, that sort of thing, and that would come out of that fund. Item 207 is managerial. Item 209, the clerk fund, that's where those funds come from, or are spent from. In the main, the managerial and the clerk, the only differences there from last year are the proposed 3% cost of living increase that is citywide. The next one, the 211, the attorney salaries, and those outside services, pretty much staying the same. Also with the treasurer, the next fund, the 213 fund, pretty much staying the same. In the police department, got plenty of support from the police guys here tonight. Can answer any questions we might have. We anticipate 4 police officers this year to promote into a different range or grade or whatever you call that. Anyway, and so we have try to fund through the budget process to fund those promotions. Our collective bargaining with police and with fire, there has not been much added to that, if you remember that.
Yes.
So that's police. Have any questions about? So I'm just gonna move fast through here. So ask questions if please do. I'm on the animal shelter, number 216. So I put on that capital outlay line item about $10,000, anticipating that we would have some sewer repairs because we're constructing a new sewer line that's going right by the animal shelter, and we want to be able to tap in and to that and be able to. So I've done some estimating about what that might cost, and I think that's going to cost somewhere around $10,000.
Did we end up fixing the issues with the walls?
So we have had great difficulty finding a contractor that wants to do that, or that will do that. We appropriated money through capital outlay, and that's still appropriated because we've not spent it. So to answer your question, yes, we're trying to get a contractor who will go and do that work. So the animal shelter does a great job, and I continue to try to promote funding the animal shelter and doing what we need to do with that, and upgrading the sewer line and upgrading the walls that needs to be repaired. On the fire, 217, that's a whole lot the same as it has been in previous years. We did up a clothing allowance there. We are pretty much level and even on fire. On the park, 219. There is an item there that was left out, and it's the 5012-5012, the park wages pool. We're still going to fund that pool manager position in the event that we follow through with that. So that was inadvertently left out, and I caught that today. That would, but we'll go ahead and fund that. Let's see. Most everything else in the Parks Department is pretty well level. Moving on to library. Did I see Carrie here tonight? Oh, there she's here. Yeah. Library is continuing to be very vital to our community, and with the programs and things that they're doing. You don't find any of the proposed expansion, or the expansion here, because that comes through bond funding. So the museum room for the Painted Pony, we'll see something this coming council meeting in that regard. And I'm pretty excited about that, but that's not anything that's in this budget that we're looking at tonight. Do you have any questions about the library? It's pretty well level, aside from the proposed 3% cost of living increase. Next item is the cemetery. We also left out an item on the cemetery, which is the temporary services. And there'll need to be an item that's filled in there, and I propose that be the same amount as it was this past year, $21,750. That's on 5018. Some equipment we're wanting to try to add. So 5411, a boom sprayer for $4,300. We've done a little work there. Also continue to do the maintenance, keep up with the maintenance on the equipment. Next item is emergency management, and that's part of our general fund budget. Pretty well staying the same. The next item is the maintenance garage, which we're not going to fund that this year because we have no need to fund that this year. Next item, the 231, is a court salaries. That's all the same, only reflecting the cost of living increase. Next item, street. That one is not complete yet. There are things yet to be determined about estimates regarding the drainage projects. In those drainage projects, we're proposing phase 1 and phase 2 of the Salt Branch, which you all heard about last week. And there's a retention. There's retention and a drain over on Bailey Street that we'll be working on. There's cleanup and of a drain that goes in between the La Valley property and the Gibbs property, and also drainage on Southeast 7th Street that we're currently working on gaining some easements. So quite a bit of work that we're trying to do on with the drainage projects. Also, estimates for the street overlay. We're not sure exactly what those estimates are yet, and so that's not filled in. I anticipate doing that before the end of the week. So, any questions on street? You can see that a lot of these items are not complete. A few reasons why is because you know that our city accountant Jeff Coker his dad passed away. Ron passed away, and he has been very honorable about tending to family things, and because I haven't pressed him on some of these numbers. Some of these numbers have not been available because estimates have been slow to come in for one reason or another. So that's another reason. Going on to golf, number 41. Dennis, we'll need to figure out what the temp service wages need to be. I've not put that in the mix here because of our additional employment out there. The temp services, you know, we don't have as much need as we did before. So that's working out that way. But we will need to put a value on that item.
It looks like there's a significant decrease in the health insurance for golf.
Yes, it does. I'm not sure that I know how to answer that,
About half.
but I'll put a question mark by that just to make sure it's correct.
Just want to make sure we're not missing anybody.
Yep.
I did have a question on the golf cart maintenance fees. It's going up, what, from 13,000 to 21,200? What, we just got new carts. What's that about?
Dennis?
Yes, excuse me, I'll be glad to answer that. The reason why some of those items have went up, because they're based on how much we sell. So as, we've had a very good year this last year, right? So we've sold a lot more
We're using a
cart
whole lot
rentals, so the increase in maintenance on those goes way up. So that's the 10% to clean them every day they're brought in. So instead of cleaning 20 carts, we're cleaning 40 carts, which that's a good thing. There's also an increase in there on the sales tax. It's the same thing. You know, we're bringing in a lot more tax money, so that's just a pass-through is all that is, but it's still on there. The sales tax is up. A couple other things, you know, due to the winter kill, we've increased, we've added a sod budget because we'll have to buy sod, because I don't know if you understand the sod business, but a lot of people lost grass.
10 below will do that, won't it?
Mm.
10 below will do that, won't it?
Yes, it will, especially Bermuda grass, it will take it out. I know Southern Hills, they replaced 3 acres of sod. That's a tremendous amount before
Wow.
they have that golf tournament. And area golf courses, I mean, it's just everywhere. And then another thing was in one of our cart building, we allocated some money for a heater, because that's the only building I can put some of my equipment in. And our sprayer needs to stay in a heated environment, and that's a $70,000 piece of equipment, so we gotta get that building heated. It's the only building big enough to house that.
Okay.
So those are some of the increases.
Okay. So all of your numbers aren't in either, right?
Right.
Okay.
That needs to be.
Right, there are a few of the numbers that are not in.
That would explain why everyone's budgets are a lot
Yeah.
lower than last year's, okay?
Well,
I thought, man, you guys are doing good.
Yeah.
But that makes sense, because they're not all filled in yet, okay.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
thank you, Dennis. Moving on to capital outlay and the 44 fund. The capital outlay fund will be less this year. You'll notice a difference in the golf capital outlay difference. Last year was 190,000 and projected to be about 60,000 this year. That's where we have the animal shelter wall. The building inspector needs a new pickup. That was funded last year, but we chose not to do that. Parks capital outlay. We're proposing that we improve the parking at our tennis courts this year. And people are coming here for tournaments because we have a facility to hold the tournaments. And there will be some other tennis events that go on, and we can attract that if we have appropriate parking. It becomes I don't know if you drove by the tennis courts while we were doing some of the school tournaments toward the end of the school year, and there was in my opinion, a safety issue there. So I think we can improve that. But that's part of what's on the parks capital outlay, that 5415.
Where are you planning on doing that?
On the north side, of the courts. Yeah, there's enough space there to actually pull in and do a pull-in parking and have two lanes of parking.
Okay.
Also with a school bus to pull in and configure it in a way that a bus or one of those people movers could be able to handle it.
Don't know who owns that land just on the south side of that, but there's a lot of area right there that we might look into also.
There's land back there, that's private land. I'm not sure who owns that. The access though from Park Street is good access. And the configuration of the parking, proposed parking there, looks very good and looks adequate at this point in time.
Okay.
Any other questions about capital outlay? Okay. Moving on to real property acquisition, we'll fund the Google Wi-Fi project that's ongoing. They give a contribution, we deposit in that account, and then we disperse out of that account. It's also a nuisance abatement. We've spent quite a bit out of that this year. It's the 46 account. We budgeted $80,000. We had we were kind of excited to be able to just charge forward with the abatement of some of the properties, and wanted to fund that appropriately, and so we funded $80,000 in there, and we've used almost 20,000 of it. So I anticipate funding it the same way. Onto the rec center, the Fund 84. So in the rec center, we have the rec center, and we have aquatics, we have child watch, we have fitness. We have all those things. There's one item on the rec center that is not completed yet. It would be the 5410, which is capital outlay equipment. So the canopy and the awning is what we have anticipated to spend out of that. Also, the outdoor fitness court that we have approved, there will be money that comes back to us, but we will need to expend money on the front side. So that's all. That also will come out of that. So that 5410, I've not completed that yet. Also, the repair and maintenance item, 5091. We know that the Boys and Girls Club needs new flooring, so we'll be trying to fund the new flooring. Also, we still have some questions about the roof and what that looks like. Jessica's meeting with and Steve Powell are meeting with a roofing company this coming Monday. We're trying to get some numbers, some good numbers written down so that we can try to see what that looks like with funding. A portion of that may come out of repair and maintenance. A portion of it may come from somewhere else. But we do need to be about doing the maintenance on that. So the rec center budget is another one that's not completed yet. The aquatics side of it, the 846 area, Jackie Moyers is doing a great job out there, and one of the reasons why this part of the budget is lower is because if you remember, we did the repair to the pool last year, and that was a capital expenditure for sure. We're still wanting to budget monies for repair and maintenance in the pool. As we go along, it will need to be repaired and maintained in ways that we're trying to anticipate. So we put $50,000 in there for that purpose. Then over to the child watch. Anticipating increased activity there, we've bumped the 25,000 up to 28,000. There's continued activity in there, and that's a really good thing that we do. Then on the fitness side of it, we've increased that by some. Some of the temp salaries, we have so much activity in there that it takes a little more supervision.
That's not a bad problem to have.
No, it's a good problem. I don't call it a problem, I call it an opportunity. So, that's a quick look at Rec Center. The next item that we normally look at is the Cemetery Care Fund. So, we'll continue to put monies over into that fund and let it build. The Public Works Authority Fund, the number 88 fund. So that's where we pay for mosquito spraying, we pay for some of the nuisance items that comes out of there, dues to Grand Gateway, it normally comes out of that item. The salaries that come out of there, as you know, we fund, we'll take someone from street department and we'll put them out to the landfill. So a particular Saturday of the month, then we pay for those wages through that Public Works Authority fund. That's what that $4,000 in salary is for. And E911, we talked about that a little bit earlier. The E911 is not self-sustaining, so it needs to be supplemented, and we do that through the general fund. So that was a quick
Rundown?
A quick rundown. Yeah,
So the 911 deal comes from landlines, right?
yes.
And we don't, everybody's going just cell phones, so that, took that out of the fund.
Right. The other item that you have is this report, and this is just a recap of all the personnel expenses. So that's the report that we use to keep track of that.
And this is with the 3% raise that you're requesting.
Yes, ma'am. So that 3% is reflected on all of those funds and all those lines that we looked at before, but this is a recap of just all the personnel. So I hope that in doing a review like this, the next meeting that we have, when I ask you to consider approving these things and sending it on to council, perhaps it'll be as much as trying to digest a whole bunch of stuff right all at once. Can I answer any questions?
Do not believe so.
Are you tired of hearing me talk? May I sit down now?
You may sit down.
Thank you.
I think that leaves us at number 34. Unforeseeable business, not owing of any. Item number 35.
Did we talk about 33?
You talked about the CARES Fund Act, right? Or Act?
33. Oh.
I don't think we did.
You did
And I was
not.
thinking,
I did not, because we have not. Excuse me.
Just kidding, come back.
Yes, ma'am. Happy to. No, I didn't try to eliminate that. I just wasn't following the agenda. And we don't have a budget sheet on that yet, because we don't have that account,
Account number.
that fund, we don't have that set up yet.
Have we received the new funds?
No,
Okay,
no, we have not.
okay.
prior to receiving that, we'll have to have a project, won't we?
I'm sorry?
I don't
Prior
think
to
so.
receiving it, don't we have to have a project?
The
Not for
county's
that.
received
No,
theirs.
No, not necessarily. But we
Okay.
are responsible to identify, as I understand it, all of those guidelines and rules have not been completely published yet.
Okay, okay.
I've read some of those things, I read some of the conjecture, but have not gotten specific guidance
Okay.
yet. The only guidance that I have gotten is that, yes, there will be an amount of money that comes to us. It'll be part this fiscal year, part next fiscal year, and we'll have specific ways that are defined that we can use those funds. So Anyway, the CARES Act funds, whatever remains in that, we're going to insert over into that new fund that we create, so there's absolutely no confusion about the general fund.
That would be good.
That would be good. So we've been kind of
That
learning
would be
as we go on that.
transparent.
We don't just have money handed to us often, do we?
Right.
No, we don't.
Okay.
All right, now item number 34, and then we have none. Item number 35, adjourn. Do I have a motion?
All motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.